Pauline Hanson, she's seen it all, and I'm sure would have absolutely nothing to say to the Prime Minister if she ended up in the same room at the Lodge with the Tiffany Teals and their little moment that's happening right now, because she's too busy fighting for the good people of Queensland, who she represents in Australia, of whom she loves. Pauline, it's been way too long. I know that sometimes our show's a little late, but it's good to have the chat, and thank you so much for joining us tonight, my dear.
Sorry, Paul, it's not you. Hey, listen, I don't even stay up for New Year's Eve. I don't even see New Year's Eve in. So I tell you, it's definitely not you, it's me.
Good. I know it's never personal.
It's good to be back with you, Paul. It's lovely being here.
Lovely to see you. Now, you know how much we support third parties, but we also support what you have brought to Australian politics. Now, I love that you are putting big bloody ideas on the table going into the election, okay? That rather than people sort of second guessing or thinking or remembering from a couple of elections ago. So let's go through a couple of them, and I wanted people to hear what you had to say about them from your own words. I love the idea that if a husband and wife and husband, one is at home, one is not, one is paying full tax on their wage, no, you get to spread it across the couple, the family. This would save people a shed load of money. What do you think, Pauline? What brought you to this one?
Paul, we've got to cut tax for the general populace out there, and the only way to do it is to look after the family unit. We haven't been looking after the family unit. Both couples have to, both people in a relationship have to go to work, and especially if they've got children. Everyone's suffering with it. Family units breaking down, domestic violence, stress that is happening through finances and all the rest of it. We can keep one of the partners home, and I'm saying just the male want to stay home, and the other part be the breadwinner. Let's split their income and pay tax on that. If they're only $120,000 a year, split between the two of them, you're going to save about nearly $10,000 a year. It will help with the children, having one parent home. It's a lot of pluses with it. It will alleviate the pressure on the childcare that we're paying in taxes to childcare, which is now $15 billion a year, which they want to increase even more. And you're also, if you've got a child sick, you don't send them to school, so therefore the health issues as well. So there's a lot of pluses with it, Paul. I want to help the family unit.
Yeah, I mean, having somebody in Australian politics talking about that, and the family unit, lots of variations, all the rest of it, right, it is pretty obvious how this works. Again, I want people to go to the website, find out more about all of this stuff. But also, let's talk about immigration, because the reality is that if you add 1.3 million people to the country as they have over the past few years, you make everything worse. Everything from hospital ramping all the way through to rental properties and the rest of it here. What's your plan? What do you want to happen with the number of people who will come in the next few years?
Right, the last year we had 700,000 people coming in, reduced by 570,000 down to 130,000 until we can manage the migration coming into the country. So cut that to 130,000 a year. I want to deport. There's 75,000 overstayers on visa holders in Australia. Deport those 75,000, get rid of them out of the country.
I love it.
And the foreign students also, why are we allowing them in the country to actually take up our housing when a lot of them only do about 6 hours a week? Foreign students export about $10 billion in earnings back to their own countries. That is China, India, the UK and the Philippines. So they're only coming out here to work. They use it as a backdoor into our country. Also, I want to see temporary protection visas introduced again, and do not bring in people who are coming from those terrorist countries or with fundamentalist ideology that's incompatible with our culture and way of life.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, this is the stuff people want to hear, right? They want to hear it because they are living with the consequences of being told that anything else other than big Australia is somehow backward. No. We want the best Australia. We want the best Australia.
Well, we have to, Paul, because they've flooded the country only to prop up the GDP, and immigration is a Ponzi scheme, so it's not helping the people here. I'll ask the people, is your way of life any better now than what it was, say, 4 or 5 years ago? You know, are you able to, have you got cheaper rent? Have you got cheaper electricity? All this is due to government policies. Think twice who you vote for and why you're voting for them. Look at the policies. And I'll tell you, while I'm on this, Paul, I'll tell people about this climate change, the fear-mongering that's gone on. People are so, they're not looking at the science behind all this. And I'll warn you, you will die first of lack of hospital care, medications, having those operations that you need, cancer treatment and everything, before you'll die from climate change in this country. So wake up, Australians. You've been taking us fools and your mugs for going along with it, because this government is destroying the prosperity and your standard of living, your way of life.
Yeah, let me preempt the complaints from the Greens. Of course, they will say that natural disasters linked to climate change, the intensity of which, so if people die in those, that would be the scenario. But people know what you're saying. You just know that I can't be bothered with the meeting tomorrow, so let me put their position now. All right, last one here. Let's talk about GST and about how GST could be changed for the better, particularly when it comes to people trying to build something or renovate their own home.
When you're building your house, it's up to about 44% of it is in taxes, whether it's stamp duty or GST. What we're advocating is to get rid of stamp duty, to get rid of GST on building materials. So therefore, it will save people. Since COVID, your timber costs have gone up by 200%. Do you know that we import $5 billion worth of timber into the country every year? And also, plumbing and electrical costs in a building site have gone up 100% in materials since COVID. So this is killing the Australian people. Let's take the GST off building materials, give them a relief, do it up to 5 years so that we can help those Australians out there to get into their own homes.
Now, let's talk about the election and some of the stuff that's happening in the Parliament this week. Hard again for normal people to follow about, when the big two are going to get together and work out the donations cap and the spending cap and all the rest of it. Of the detail that is flowing around right now, does it help or hurt a person like yourself and a party that's wanting to run in every state, as opposed to sort of the doormat Dave, who looks like the cap will be higher if the population is lower?
Paul, I think this is a snatch and grab by both sides of politics, the coalition and the government, because I think what they're saying here is that they want to pay themselves for every sitting member of Parliament in the lower house $30,000 a year compliance cost, plus also in the Senate $15,000 per sitting member. Now, that's going to equate to about the Labor Party picking up $2.7 million. On top of this, they're raising the per vote by $5 per primary vote. The number one vote is going to give everyone $5 per vote. On top of this, they get the donations, which they're saying cutting back. I don't trust them, because you know what? Through the back door, the unions can donate monies to them. They reckon they're reining it in. So I got a lot of problems with this, but it's been backed by the major political parties. They're going to pass this on the floor of Parliament. So this compliance cost, Paul, they changed the rules for a lot of the farmers, businesses and people out there who had to comply with their rules and regulations. Did they get compliance costs paid for by the government to set up their tax agents or accountants or the rest of it? No, they didn't. So why are we allowing the political parties to pay themselves compliance costs for their members of Parliament?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. By the way, $89 million is how much the total amount of money the AEC will take after an election. $89 million, and that's just in the lower house, let alone, of course, the doubling of that about what's going to happen up in the Senate. It is offensive. It is absolutely offensive, but the stitch-up is going to happen here.
They paid out over about $72 million in the last election. After this legislation goes through, it's going to cost the taxpayers about $140 million.
It's outrageous. It truly is. All right, mate. Good to hear from you. We'll see you again many times between now and the election.